right, guys, welcome back to another Coach's Corner episode. We have a special guest. Let me redo that. You see what I mean? No, because I'm not awesome. Lisa Scott with us. This episode, we got Nick Palladino King in the house. Nick, how you doing? The awesome Patrick Umphrey in the house. All right, guys, welcome back to another Coach's Corner episode. We have a longtime friend of ours here in the house, and I could go on a whole tangent and rant about how great of a human being this person is and just how much light and everything he's brought into our lives over the course of, I would say, almost a decade now. Yeah. But we have the one and only Eric Bustillo from Miami, Florida. How you doing, Eric?
Dímelo, what's up? Thank you for having me, guys. I'm happy to be on here, man. It's crazy. When you were saying that, I was like, man, it's almost 10 years now, man. Like, good time Lord, flies. It's crazy. Where does this time go, man? Wow.
Time flies, man. I remember like the first time, like we just met up at like one of the ISSN conferences. Like Chris and I both took our test for like the CISSN. And it's like, we all just hit it off though, man. Like just like your guys' people and group of people. And just, it's been amazing. We've kept a good relationship. And I'm like, man, I got to get out to Miami and visit E.
For sure. And I've said the same thing when you guys were in California. I said it so many times. And I just like, it's like, you know, we put these excuses or barriers to just go and do stuff. But then this year I find myself like I'm going to take a trip now to like North Carolina. And I'm just like, I caught this like travel bug. I'm like, I got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And now that you guys are over in Texas, you know, again, I'm like, man, I got to get out there. Like it's a little bit closer, even though I mean, California is super dope.
Yeah.
But man, I gotta see you guys in person sometime soon, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on, just your time. I know you have a lot of like wisdom and experience in this field, man. So let's get to it. So how long have you been a fitness professional? I know you're a registered dietitian. And then like, what would you say your number one go-to like lead generation for acquiring clients has been right now?
I've been doing this now for officially as a registered dietitian. I'm going on 8 years now as an RD. I mean, I've been involved for a little bit longer than that, but that's like the whole schooling process and everything. So I've been doing it for a little while now and seen a bunch of people, and it's been such a really cool experience with many interesting stories. But as far as like lead generation, one of the things that I really like to emphasize is honesty. And that I don't want to sound too like frou-frou, woo-woo or whatever, but just being very transparent with what we say, and pumping out content as best as we possibly can. I've found that has led to so many either current, former, or future clients that I have worked with or that I'm going to work with. You know, I think it's important for us to be able to learn to say no as well, to not spread ourselves thin.
Mm-hmm.
But once I really started putting out more educational information, especially on Instagram, which I think Instagram has been like the platform
mm-hmm.
for a few years now, where folks just kind of go on there. They could find something as far as information goes on a picture or an infographic or a quick video, whatever. So once I realized that I started pumping out more content on there, people started, even if I didn't get 1 million likes, like I stopped really looking at how many likes I was getting. I was like, I'm just going to put out content to inform people. I'm not really trying to be the world's most popular, dietitian. I think it would be cool because I think I put out a good message.
Yeah.
And the more people I could reach, then awesome. That's like more a part of my mission to educate and inform and inspire these people. But the more information that I was putting out, I've noticed like people were like, hey, like follow this guy, follow Eric, follow whatever. And they were like sharing my stuff, which was cool. And of course, eventually that led to, hey, are you taking new clients? Hey, are you working with folks? Hey, my friend is interested. Hey, my spouse, my mom, my dad, my whoever. But in that, again, I always come back to the whole honesty piece. You know, the other day I had an interesting, like a couple of months ago, I had this like a little bit of like a revelation, because when people talk about like you have to have this niche, I'm kind of like, I never exactly 100% knew what my niche was. Like, you know, some people will be like, yeah, I'm a keto coach that helps diabetic patients or something. I don't know, whatever. So people have like this very specific thing. And I was like, man, you know, I don't know. And I wasn't going to bust my head over it because I was like, I almost don't care. I'm just going to keep on doing what I do and informing people. And then a friend of mine who she is actually involved in like a network marketing company who sells like beauty products and stuff. And I mean, I'm not particularly a big fan of network marketing in general. I've seen like the not so good side of it. I've seen the good side and the not so good. And personally for me, I'm like, I'm not a fan, but you know, whatever. I respect the hustle. That's for sure. And she contacted me and was like, Eric, you know, this company, which again sells like beauty products, they're going to start selling supplements. And you were the first person that I thought of because now this company is going to move in this direction. And like, I understand the point that they're trying to make with everything that you're doing as far as like wellness all around or whatever. But she was basically saying that she didn't feel comfortable promoting or selling a product that she didn't really know a lot about or like what the science said on it. And she thought, I was like, damn, she thought of me to help her either like feel good about selling it or be like, I don't really think that you should sell it, or just in the end, I told her, I said, look, at worst, based on what I see from these supplements, it looks like for the most part, nothing is going to happen. So if you're looking for an okay from me, my okay is that I don't think you're going to hurt people by putting them on these supplements, but it's probably not going to be effective. So is it really worth them taking a random probiotic or a random like greens powder or, you know, whatever.
Right.
So I'm very honest. I'm very straightforward with that stuff. And I think it's transparent on my content that I put out. So when she said that, I was like, damn, I think my niche is like being this like debunker of nonsense and being a trusted resource for people in the nutrition, lifestyle, fitness space and all of that. And that was it was just very eye-opening for me because I think that honesty goes a long way and it attracts people, especially when there's so much BS out there. I think honesty and content are like the two main things that I really try to like strive for.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that you pointed that out. And even too, like one of our like, you know, core values has always been since day one is just integrity, right? And we've always stood by that. And it's just like, that pays off itself because you're being honest, you're being truthful, you're putting out good stuff to the world. And it's just like, just kind of let it flow, you know? And I love how you just said that, just be honest. And like, you know, like you don't really care too much about the whole niche thing, which sometimes I can always be like, you know, 50-50 on that, but it's working for you, man. So that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it helps to have like that direction that like, okay, I'm only going to work with athletes who have IBS or something, which I mean, cool. It's a very specific target group. But I kind of like my generality. Like I have my hands involved in a bunch of different things. And you know, it works well for me, which ultimately, you know, like you said, if it's working for me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Thing, you know?
Exactly. And so what would you say too, E? I know you work with a lot of people like, you know, do you work with people in person still or is it just mainly online now?
It's a combination of both.
Okay, cool. So you're doing like a hybrid approach.
Yeah. So okay. I'm seeing folks in person. I'm doing some stuff online. And I mean, I love the in-person stuff. I love to like sit and interact with somebody in person. Again, I think Zoom is cool, but I don't know. That's like maybe an old school thing of me, man. There's just something about this, like
same here.
Being able to chat in person.
Yeah, there's no substitute.
What?
There's no substitute for in person, man. There's just not, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But embracing technology, I mean, the fact that I can work with someone who, I don't know, lives in Panama or Houston or California or even in South Florida, but they're like an hour and a half drive away. I mean, cool. We have text messaging, we have email, we have Zoom, we have phone calls. Like, I think we forgot that we could call people too. You know, we have just so many ways of doing it that it's nice to have technology in that sense. It doesn't always have to be in person, and it works well. Again, knowing like who we're working with and knowing ourselves, if we could do that, then awesome. So I've just really embraced like the all around approach.
Yeah. And what would you say, like maybe like your go-to tip or just something you found that's like a client experience, like whether it's in person or online, that you do really, really good to make this client be like, wow, like Eric cares, like, holy shit, this is exactly why I work with Eric or why I refer Eric, like a client experience tactic or anything that you do just like that nobody else really does?
Man, I don't know if no one else really does this, but again, it kind of comes back to the transparency. I'm very if I don't know something off the top of my head, I'm just kind of like, look, you know what? I'm going to look into that for you because I really don't know. And I think people appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. I think there are people out there who like want the person that they're working with to know every single thing. And there are people who know everything, AKA they're going to bullshit their way through a conversation.
Yep.
And that's just not me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you and I'll get back to them. I mean, ASAP. I'll send them a text message, whatever it is. So it's like being quick with showing them that I care. There's this quote that a friend of mine told to me, and I'm sure it's an old quote, but it was, people want to know how much you care before they care how much you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that. Yep. Yeah.
And that's like when he told me that, I was kind of like, man, like I like that. And for me, it's inherent. Maybe it's like, it was from the way that I was brought up, but to want to care for and the way that I care about people, especially people who are interested in taking care of themselves, that takes us to a different level. It's like you reached out to me because you want to be a better you. I like that. Like, okay, I fuck with that. And now I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm helping you as best as I possibly can. So I think just really showing them that I care and being transparent again, like I think I do that really well. And it might not be the sexiest answer. It might not be like, you know, I have this like really cool app that people are like, hey, jump on Eric's app or whatever. I mean, I don't have that. It's just the humanistic connection and approach that I'm very fond of.
For sure. No, that's powerful, man. That's like so many other people have said that too. And it's like, again, just goes back to just caring for people and showing that, you know, that builds the trust. So let's transition into like breaking past self-limiting beliefs and false beliefs, because I think this is a huge one just for fitness professionals in general and just business owners. And Chris and I struggle with this till this day as well too. We're human. And it's like, let's take example of like, did you ever struggle with like the fear of getting started, the fear of failure, imposter syndrome, comparison syndrome, maybe a scarce money mindset? Like, is there one of those in particular that you struggled with before you got started with like your whole business and everything?
I would say all of that.
Okay.
It's all been this thing where it's like, man, I'm afraid to even do something, you know, like I'm afraid to just like take that first step. And sometimes you kind of get forced into it and that helps. Whether it's a hard time or just, you know, the circumstance. Then this fear of beginning, this fear of failure, of like, you know, what if it doesn't work? Which it can be very scary, but I don't know, and this might sound kind of bad, but I'm like, not only am I a very optimistic person, I mean, maybe to a fault, but I'm very confident. Like I'm very confident in that, like, I know things are going to work out because I'm from an immigrant family. My mom is Cuban, my dad's Colombian. So that's where like the money scarcity part comes in.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, having fear of like spending on this or spending on that, or maybe not even being taught how to spend or invest either certain finances or even time on certain things. Because for me, it was like work hard and that's it. You know what I mean? Like you're going to go to school and this and that, and you're going to like learn what you're going to learn and you're going to work. And it was almost like 15-hour days at an old job was like what I was supposed to be doing. And now don't get me wrong. I think at the time it was what I was supposed to be doing because it's something that I learned from. But to just be there, like, you know, busting my ass, and that was kind of like working against me, like against my health, where I wasn't taking good care of myself. That became a problem. And it was just like work. It also didn't help that I had someone who was a mentor at the time, was someone that like, I kind of like looked up to. They gave like really good information. They turned out to be like crooked. So that was, and again, these are life experiences. But all of this stuff helps kind of bring me back to this, like, we just have to do things sometimes. Like we just have to be confident in ourselves, have an insane amount of optimism that I'm fortunate enough to have that. I know it's easy for me to say it. Like, I recognize that although I am Hispanic or Latin American, I'm white, I'm a male, and I'm tall. And not trying to turn this into like gender and this and that, but if we're going to be real in the US, I mean, I'm kind of hitting the lotto in the height, in the skin color or race, and in the gender or sex orientation. So it's easy for me to say, yeah, you know, optimism and this and that, when I haven't had, like, I didn't grow up poor. Like, thankfully, my grandparents and my parents busted their ass and have provided a decent life for us. But that also it's also been humble beginnings in a way too, because to be quite frank, I don't care about a Ferrari, you know? And these are things that it's like, I have to recognize what are certain like self-limiting beliefs that I've had. And even from time to time, I think we still have them, and we have to kind of like catch it. Like, Absolutely. Don't let it become this reality where it's like, oh shit, you know, you're doing that again, what you used to do. Like, it's just like in a relationship. If you did some shit in an old relationship and that relationship didn't work out, then it's like, hold on, Eric, like, all right, you know, you're doing what you should do with this person. Don't act it out. Catch yourself while you're thinking about it before you make that shit a reality by acting upon it, you know?
Yeah. And that's why we love doing these coaches corners, man, because it's just real. It's authenticity, and everybody's different, right? Like yesterday we had a conversation. We asked the same question. The guy said, like, you know, whenever your mind kind of fucks with you, you just go back to your track record, and it's like, look what you accomplished in the past decade, right? And that kind of just snaps you out of it and be like, okay, I'm back on track. Like, you know, shut up to this little voice. It's telling you like, you're not good enough. Like, you're not smart enough, all this stuff. And I like what you said too about being like really confident, man, because that's something we really teach our Fit Pros is like confidence leads to competence, right? And it's like, you could be the most smartest like coach out there in the world, but if you don't have confidence and that doesn't like shine on your guys' clients, then they're not going to believe in you and you're not going to believe in yourself, you know? So I really like that you hit on confidence.
For sure. And that's that. And thank you. I think that's an important point. You guys know Dr. Doug Kalman from the ISSN.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's a friend and definitely a mentor since I was at FIU down here doing my bachelor's. And I remember him telling me something along the lines of like, if you say something with confidence, just about anyone is going to believe it. But he was saying that in a way of like helping me from being a young student going through an internship, but also to kind of pointing out that this fact that like you have some really uninformed individuals that will say things with plenty of confidence, but it's just completely wrong, but people will believe it.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, damn, you know, he makes this really good point of, and you see it a lot on social media too. Some folks might say like, you know, if you're not doing vegan, then, you know, you're doing it all wrong because vegan is, you know, this and that. And they say it with so much confidence that it's like, even if you know better, you're like, oh, damn, they make the good point.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Convincing. That's
true. For sure. And that's the thing, you know, confidence can be quite convincing, Absolutely. Especially if we don't know how to kind of like separate it, or if we don't know the science behind certain things. And I mean, not lots of folks out there are like us that we know how to read scientific studies. We know people that are conducting studies, and that helps us. But I think also remembering that like not everybody knows that. So it could be easy for some folks to kind of fall down that trap of like, this person is saying a banana is bad for me, and they're saying it with so much confidence that I should never eat a banana again. It's kind of like, you need to slow down a little bit, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's such a great point. But this has been really awesome, man. And I truly like appreciate you just like, not only for your friendship, but just like, you know, again, being real and like your transparency and just the experience you brought to the table today in this conversation. It's going to help out a lot of Fit Pros. So thank you so much. And where can any of the listeners, you know, follow you and all the cool stuff that you're doing?
I mean, the place where I'm most active is, wait, before I say that, thank you guys. Thanks for even having me on. Thanks for hitting me up. I mean, besides getting to chat with you guys and see you all on video, it's an honor to be able to share any, you know, wisdom or intelligence I may have with you guys and with your listeners and followers. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, Instagram is a place where I'm most active. You know, recently I've actually found myself separating a little bit from just social media in general. Again, with this year, it's just been quite an interesting year from like a close friend passing away early in the year, and then COVID happening, and going through a breakup, getting COVID, giving COVID. But then there were bright things too, like finishing my master's, and like I don't know if you guys know, I was named co-vice president of the ISSN.
I saw that.
Man,
yeah,
that's
congrats,
awesome.
man. I saw that.
Thank you guys. So it's like there's been good things too, but with all that, I found myself like not being as active on social media on purpose, almost like disconnecting a little bit, because like, I mean, real shit, I almost lost my dad this year.
Yeah.
And it was my fucking fault. You know what I'm saying? Like I introduced him to COVID. The silver lining is that we all made it through, and he's like actually exercising now 5 or 6 days a week, and it's just been a great turnaround.
Amazing.
But I've been on it a little bit less, but I'm still active on there. So Instagram is the best place, and it's just at Eric Bustillo, just at my name. I say that's probably the best place to find. I'm pretty good about answering DMs, and yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll have that all linked up in the show notes. Once again, Eric Bustillo, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. Until next time. All right, guys. Welcome back to another Coach's Corner episode. We have a special guest. Let me redo that. You see what I mean? No, because I'm not used to having two. So, okay. Damn it. All right, guys. Welcome back to another Coach's Corner episode. We have two amazing guests with us today. We have Jordan and Nicole from Denver, Colorado. How are you ladies doing today?
Fabulous. Good. We're so excited to be on here.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were just even saying before we hit the record button, we're like, there's two of you. I thought I was seeing double, but you guys aren't sisters. You guys are business partners, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, Chris and I are business partners. I mean, I even messed up on the first take on this, which was funny. So Chris was giving me some jabs, but I'm excited to have you guys on. So thank you so much for your time. So let's dive into this. So how long have you guys been in the fitness industry? And I know you guys just opened up a brick and mortar gym. So what is like your number one go-to lead generation tactic that's been working for you guys?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
You want to start?
Okay. So combined together, we've both been in the fitness industry individually over 10 plus years. So we bring over 20 years of experience together. Wow. And what was your next one? That was like 3 questions.
Oh no, I'm just I just want to know like what have you guys been doing like lead generation wise? And I guess we can keep this in the context of like in person, maybe like 5 to 10 mile radius, since you guys do have a brick and mortar gym.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So since we've been in the industry so long and we've stayed in the same location, obviously we've had a lot of time to really invest in building our client loyalty. So of course, that's our number one lead generator, is just years and years of client loyalty building, which has given us, email lists and social media and really just loyal followings. And I feel like that's always the one thing, is like, we all want like the quick marketing lead, but at the end of the day, I think it's so important to note that it just takes time, and you can get so much farther by just investing in your people, even if it's only 2 clients at a time versus just trying to do all of these random generating leads sometimes, right? In addition, partnering with people who have like the same values and interests. So doing collaborations with people of similar thought processes as far as how we believe in training. Instagram, we can't not say that Instagram has been incredible. Oh my God. Like Instagram is hands down the number one, I think, tool for fitness professionals to generate more leads. We probably get 90%. Well, all right, I'll say like 50% probably come from Instagram, but obviously like still people that follow us see someone post about us. So it's still referral based,
Totally. Yeah.
But people reach out to us all the time on Instagram. It's crazy. And definitely I'd say in our initial consults, most people say they found us on Instagram through a friend.
Definitely. I think that's something important to note. While like the social media platforms are so powerful, it still comes back down to nurturing that handful of people that are talking about you authentically, sharing content about you authentically, an experience, a conversation, etc. Because at the end of the day, when we do get that lead generation via Instagram, it's mostly because somebody has said, oh, I saw so-and-so repost your story, or they saw them on our story, or them interacting with us.
Yep.
And so there's just, I think while the social media platforms continue to grow and be a great asset, it's important for fitness professionals to remember you still have to nurture your people, and you have to nurture them, whether it be an in-person or a virtual client, because then they will talk about you. And that's huge.
Well said. I couldn't agree more. We'll touch up on that in a second. I want to just dabble into like guerrilla marketing because again, like really quick, a backstory. Chris and I had a gym that we built at like our Orange County home, like $10,000 studio that we built in our garage. And like, we were just doing like hardcore guerrilla marketing, like putting out flyers on people's like windows at gyms, like just like 3 to 5 mile radius, building relationships with like chiropractors, estheticians, just all that type of stuff. So are you guys doing any type of that stuff? Because that's something we preach to our Fit Pro students, like what's called hustling outside of social media.
Yes. And so I think too, like when you're first getting going as well, that's so big. So we both can't deny that when we were first getting going, that's what we did. I hung up flyers at the gym I was working at, and that's how I built an initial following, you know?
So I think even like a big thing that we still do is like a business card, like really in the aspect of getting a cool business card, and then like even saying 3 to 5 per person that you know that somebody's going to say like, hey, pass this on. Or within our community, like what Jordan said, as far as people that share the similar values, really thinking outside of the box of fitness. So like if you're interacting with somebody constantly in like maybe in a beauty setting or like a gym equipment, obviously that's still the same industry, but like a clothing store that you like to go to, just like things that they all share a commonality of valuing themselves and how they feel, and asking them to pass something on, as well as saying like, hey, we'll take some of your flyers and put them here.
Exactly.
There's something so sweet about opening the door for people that you value too, and say, hey, we'll pass out a flyer for you if you'll pass out a flyer for us. And I think that is never going to go extinct. There's so much value to somebody doing that.
Exactly. Yeah, super smart. You guys are doing that. And I know you guys mentioned, you guys are super big on just like nurturing your guys' like clients and leads and all that, right? So what's something that you guys do, like maybe at your small gym that, a client experience wise, to where people are just like, holy shit, like that's exactly why I come to this gym. That's why I'm a part of this community, because, Nicole and Jordan like are absolutely phenomenal. They do this the best and nobody else can kind of replicate that. So what's maybe a tactic or something you guys do for that client experience?
I think it starts with our onboarding process. And part of that onboarding process is we truly seek to understand our clients. We truly seek to learn about them. Obviously, it's amazing to learn, like somebody comes to you for a fitness or a nutrition goal, but really you're impacting their whole lifestyle, because at the same time you can get somebody to come work out with you. We've had people, some of us, or both of us, we still have clients that have been training with us since we got started here. And I think you have to ask yourself the why they're still hanging on. And that helps you with the newer client of understanding that you're impacting their lifestyle. And we have a really unique process in our onboarding that I think Jordan should talk about with the Enneagram.
Yeah. We recently too have gotten with our onboarding process into the Enneagram. It's a personality test. I don't know if you guys have taken.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
no, I've never taken that. I've taken other personality tests though, not that one though.
Yeah, definitely take it. It's a really fun one, and I think just the way that they lay it out, it's easy to like remember what people are, because they kind of have names for each type, and it's easier to remember versus like the Myers-Briggs where it's all the letters. But we always have people take that, and it just helps us know what motivates them and what really drives them, and it also helps us group people together better. Obviously, like certain personality types work better with others, but also some, like if you get a mix of people, you can really create a cool dynamic of people. So we try to go a little bit deeper now into personality to really get to the root of what is going to motivate people to change. So that's a way that we nurture people as well. And then in addition, just creating a community where we encourage people to be kind to each other. And I think that's huge. Gyms can be so intimidating. So many people have told us that they waited so long to reach out because they were just so intimidated. And sorry, our pups are in the back.
No worries.
And Toby, and so making the whole process just a very enjoyable experience, and then also encouraging people when they come in to like talk to each other and to make that environment very, very friendly. It goes so far. Just the guidance of it.
And I was going to ask too, I mean, like the personality, that's really, really cool. I've never heard of that, like for an onboarding process. So like, what's the feedback like from like the actual clients from that?
They love it.
Yes.
Because people, I've always heard, like, even in like interview stuff, like people like to talk about, right, like themselves or like their goals or like what they have going on. And so when they do that, versus just listening to them, when you seek to understand what they're sharing with you, and then you have them take the personality test, and then they have a better understanding of things that maybe they thought were like either a fault or like a strength or a weakness, etc. You help them like channel that. And if it is a weakness, you help them channel where their strengths are. And then like when you build this community, whether you're working with them one-on-one or in these small groups, you cultivate this community that helps bolster their strengths, and you help them better use them. And then any of their weaknesses, they find like that community aspect to be able to strengthen those. And there's something so empowering about people feeling a sense of community, and people also knowing that they're pushing their own, physical and mental boundaries and limits with other people that share the same commonality.
Yeah.
Whether they have a different personality type or not, they know that everyone's showing up into our studio, in studio or a virtual platform, with the same drive and they want those same deliverables, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I'm interested too, like, since you guys being business partners, Chris and I are business partners, this guy drives me nuts at times, I'm not going to lie, but it's all brotherly love. So for maybe the listener that is like an aspiring, gym owner, and they're like, oh, like I have a business partner, but I don't know if I can trust the person. Like it's just kind of unknown territory. So what differentiates you guys to make this like team effort and work really well?
Oh my goodness.
That's a big one.
Well, in a way, we've both had different experiences that have failed with partnering, and I think you have to have those in a way to really know what's important. And we kind of always relate it to a marriage now. And I think like when you go into it, you have to think of it as similar to that commitment of a marriage with a business partner, the vulnerability that comes with it, the commitment, the loyalty, it tests you in every way, just like a marriage does. So we went into it kind of with that mindset, and we also spent about a year and a half growing our friendship. And like Nicole, had ideas, and I kind of just like ended it with one business partner, and I was like, we got to hold off, girl. Like, I'm not ready for this, but she like had all these things, but she put herself kind of out there. And over time, like we just became good friends, and were able to kind of start to lean into each other. And just build that trust, so that finally when the opportunity presented itself to start a business, we already kind of had built that foundation. But you're so spot on, like it's really important who you choose as a business partner, because all of your weaknesses, the things that you personally struggle with always end up coming out in a business endeavor in some way. And if you don't have a solid teammate to call that out, number one, and also be there to say like, I want you to be your best, and I'm going to keep showing up for you so that you can be, and vice versa. It can get hard really, really quick.
Yeah. Agree 100%.
And just to add on to that, I think in any aspect of life, like, you have to know if like you're going into this, like there's no plan B, and you're all in. And you are 100% going to over communicate. And I think that aspect of over communication, because what might be clear to you or what you might be leaving out because of maybe past experiences, or you're nervous of their reaction or anything like that, that will never serve you in the long run. So it's better just to over communicate and to be very clear. And as Jordan shared, like there's going to be probably many of your listeners that maybe embark on a business relationship that it comes to an end and it opened up a door for something else.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's okay. But the number one thing is that you need to authentically go all in for yourself if you expect that from somebody else.
Yeah. 100% agree on that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is like what you guys are doing, it's not like a little side hustle, like you guys are going all in, so I want people to really understand that and the courage you guys have for doing that. So I commend you on that. I want to kind of just segue into talking about false belief patterns, like that little voice on our shoulder that's telling us like, we're not good enough, comparison syndrome, imposter syndrome, fear of failing, fear of starting, scarcity money mindset. Do you ladies have like a story or like, do you guys still deal with like any of those type of like false belief patterns right now in your business,
Or even before you guys like pulled the trigger to do it?
Oh my God.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yes. I think that something that we both have brought up several times since getting this started is the importance, like in this growth process, the importance to be so laser focused in what your why is and what you want your outcome to be. So how that why affects that outcome. And when you're so focused on that and you believe in it and you believe in your process and you believe in who you are, you're not distracted by whatever everyone else is doing. And the more distracted you are and the more you're seeking that validation or interest in what others are doing, then you're not really focused on what your why is and what your deliverables. And you'll just be chasing your tail constantly. And I think then that plays into the mindset of scarcity when you're doing that. Because again, you're not focused. You're thinking, look at what they're doing. Oh, I got to go do this. And every time you do that, it pulls away from the original place that you started and the original place that maybe was your why. And so I think for the both of us, like we of course have years of experience, whether it be when we were collegiate athletes to when we were first getting into the industry, when we were first having we had different business partners or different business endeavors, we definitely had that. And so going into this, it was like getting extremely focused on what we were trying to do and our why. And we always come back to that. Anytime we're about to release, we're going to do a challenge, we come back to what are we trying to do and our why? What do we want?
What's the intention? Spot on.
Yeah, the why has been so huge. And also I think just building that courage muscle, right? Of continuing to move forward in the face of fear, because for me especially, I've wanted a gym forever, and I've continually made up the excuses as to why I'm not ready yet, or I need to just get to this place with my clientele before I open. And it's so interesting when you finally just go for it and you do it, how you look back and you're like, why was I so scared? Wow, and I think that's a big one too, of we're always going to feel like we're not ready, but you truly grow the wings after you take that step off the cliff, and you just do, and you can't explain it in any other way than that.
Yeah, you just take action and just learn.
Yep. And I think it's accepting too that no day is ever perfect.
Exactly.
You have all of the budget in the world, right? You have all of the perfect clients, you have all, everything that you can imagine is perfection for you to do something. Then you hit that and you're ready to hit the next level, right? So I think it's understanding and embracing that there's truly never a perfect time, because once you arrive to your perfect that you've worked for, then you go to the next perfect, right? The next aspiration. So it's spreading those wings and going for it for sure.
No, 100%. I like even to it. If you guys follow Marie Forleo, she just says everything is figure outable. And it really, really is at the end of the day. It's just you learn as a business owner to get resourceful, and it's either you want it or you don't.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And you, what's that line? You embrace the suck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You embrace the discomfort. And I think that's also the beauty of when you spend the time and you choose to be vulnerable and you invest, and then you have the right business partner set up. That's been something that's been so game changing. We are both very take charge, strong individuals on the personality test. We're both 8s.
Yeah.
Take it, you'll understand. But yet we've learned to lean into one another and be okay, how do we problem solve this? And then boom, on to the next thing. And then it's 2 weeks go by and we're why were we even worried about that?
Yeah.
Good. But if you never face it head on, then you don't get the opportunity to say, why were we ever worried about that? It feels just such a cool thing to want to always grow.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, you ladies are doing an amazing job. So as we kind of just conclude this episode, I just want to say thank you so much for your guys' time, your guys' wisdom, all the experience and everything you guys are doing in the fitness industry to change lives and create impact. So where can the listeners learn more about you, follow you guys on Instagram and your guys' websites?
Yeah, we have a few different offerings that we can kind of share and people can follow along. So we have our personal Instagrams at Jordan Baldwin Fitness and at Peak 8 Fitness. And then we have our Kalo Fitness, which is at Kalo_fitness. We have our website at kalofitness.com.
Okay.
Lots of Kalo. And then we also just launched our virtual platform, which I know it's a really trendy thing, but that's because it's necessary for every fitness professional right now to have a virtual offering of some sort. And we are also super happy if anyone wants to reach out to let everyone know kind of the steps that we took to get our virtual platform up and going. We've made a lot of mistakes. I've made 2 apps that I haven't been able to monetize, and so I've learned a lot in those years as well. So this offering, we really took the time to make sure that It had everything we needed to make it grow, and it's been going great so far. We're just super happy to offer any insight if any coaches need some help knowing even what platform or what could possibly be the best direction to go with that. We're happy to offer just any help, because I know it can be really intimidating to get a whole virtual program up and going, especially when you're working nonstop as a trainer and you're just exhausted by the end of the day. So.
Right. Yeah. We appreciate that. So we'll have all that linked up in the show notes. Once again, Jordan and Nicole, thank you again for your time. And guys, go follow these amazing ladies and see what they're doing. Until next time.
Thank you so much, Chris and Eric.
All right, guys, welcome back to another Coach's Corner segment. We have the awesome Lisa Scott with us. Lisa, how you doing today?
Hi, guys. Good. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. I know we were just, before we hit record, we were just catching up a little bit, and it's been about 2 years, and it was good. It was good catching up and just hearing what's going on. You're over in Miami. So yeah, I'm excited to have you on and just, deliver value to, a ton of aspiring fitness professionals that are up and coming, and just even ones that are just seasoned vets that can always pick up some good nuggets and wisdom just from all your experience.
Awesome. I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited. I was just telling you guys, this is a great time because my dog is away, my child is sleeping. So it's good to get some, adult time, adult conversations in about my career and your career. So it's great.
It's that Zen time.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Right on. All right, Lisa, let's kick this off. So first and foremost, how long have you been a fitness professional, and what would you say your go-to, lead generation tactic is to acquire clients?
Okay, so I've been a fitness professional for, let me calculate, about 14 years, I believe. My math is right. I actually started in college. I've been doing everything from, personal training, teaching group exercise classes. And then I, became a registered dietitian. So I'm doing actually like a little bit of everything right now. And my other side business that I started is I make organic elderberry syrup and ginger and turmeric shots.
Nice.
It goes with my nutrition business, but it's just something that I feel people needed during this time of quarantine and with the whole COVID thing. So it's just something nice that I enjoy doing that I can make, on my off time. And then it's just like a nice little passion project. And the biggest way, honestly, that I've been acquiring clients is, people really word of mouth, honestly, like in my Miami, community. But really the second one is Instagram, just things I post, and it may not necessarily be from people seeing it, but somebody will message or somebody will tag me. And really that's how I've been getting most of my clients for my nutrition business and also for personal training. But a lot of it, again, people are, connected, and they might see something over and over again, and then they'll finally, reach out to me. So that's the best way for me.
Yeah. And I've heard from other just fit pros that we've had on these segments, these coach corners, Instagram's a big hub of their lead generation. So is there anything in particular that you're doing, that's a little bit different, maybe putting out just certain value posts, transformational posts, maybe it's just certain pain points, and you being the person that can get them out of that particular pain?
I really try to be authentic on my posts. Honestly, even if I put a filter on, I like to say it hey, I have this filter on right now, because I really greatly dislike that whole whole Instagram image modelly BS.
Me too.
SHIT, I don't know if I want to curse. I really dislike that. So I try to be authentic. I try to show people my mistakes that I make if I'm cooking, or what the reality of personal training, how sometimes it goes great and sometimes the clients are doing something completely wrong, but it's funny. So I really, and I get my own issues. I have my own gut issues. I've had, depression. I've had anxiety. I've gone, I had a baby. So I connect to people that are authentic as well. So I just hate the BS, that whole thing of even whatever, the dieties or make my butt look bigger. I just really dislike
let
that.
Let it out.
I cannot with it. And it's really unattractive to me, actually. So even, I try to be authentic. With whatever wrinkles I have or whatever I look like that day, I want to come through as just as natural as I possibly can. And so that people can connect with that and be authentic. And if that's something that they want to connect with, then they will. And I don't want to push anybody. I hate that too. Like I don't, like I'll say, hey, I'm taking on clients now because I have a limited time. I'll say that, but I won't say you need to do this right now. You know, that's just crap. I don't like that either. So I want to attract them based on my energy and their energy. And I want it to be an authentic relationship. That's really my number one goal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I tried telling Eric, hey, you got to stop posting those selfies without shirts. You know?
I know, man. He's
so bad at that.
The girls or maybe boys too, you know, they're going to just go wild for that.
I guess it's because I'm the single twin, but you know, this guy always.
You got to do it. You got to flaunt. Yeah. And you know, even with that too, it's like, there's a limit of what you, and even like, I'm actually making an app right now. That's another project I'm working on. And even with that, I'm like, do I want to film in a sports bra and pants or is it going to be short? And no, like, I don't want that to be a part of distraction. Like, I think of course you have to be in good shape to look and, you know, for somebody to follow you because you're kind of practicing what you preach, but that's always in the back of my mind. Like, I don't need that to be, and I went through, I'm like, God, do I have to do this? Do I have to wear a sports bra? I'm like, no, I want it to be about the exercises and that's it. You know, I want, again, that authenticity to really come through because I don't like the BS stuff.
Yeah. I love that. Exactly. And Lisa, do you do any like online coaching or is it strictly like all in person?
I do. So I have several clients that I coach over Zoom and over FaceTime. I do. So, and they're people that I knew them actually before. And just because of, you know, the times, this is what we have resorted to, which I really never thought I'd coach anybody online. Like before I had my son, I was like, there's no freaking way. Like, how do you even do that? That's so weird. But no, I mean, and during quarantine, that's the only way I was doing it. It was all online. I know I didn't see anybody. So
yeah. Well,
so
that's cool. That's cool. You're doing that because that's like what we teach in our program is the hybrid training model, like in person and online. So it's good to see that. And that you're building up like the community of like, you know, in Miami and stuff like that. So that kind of brings me to my next question is there something like unique that you do, you know, like as far as like a client experience, whether it's in person or online to where it's just like, people are just like, wow, and like completely like, man, this is so awesome. Like that I got this experience from Lisa.
So I will say for nutrition, that's why I limit to how many clients or patients, you know, I take on because I really do follow up with them like week to week. You know, I could say, here's this 12-week program. You're responsible for reaching out to me, you know, see you later. And some people might reach out to me and some people will not. It's just like that's how the customer is, you know, but I really honestly try to always kind of stay on top and say, hey, how are you doing? What can I do for you? Like, I try to be like, you know, overly, I guess, available to them, you know, during, you know, the business hours, quote unquote, because I really cared. I want to see them succeed. And I also don't give people specific plans. I used to. I don't give people specific plans anymore. I give them like, I can give them macros or I can give them like a template, but it's really more about what they're eating. And, you know, I catch up when I look at their medications. I look, you know, if there's somebody else too that I feel that maybe they have a condition that I have somebody else that might be better for them, like in a specific, maybe autoimmune disease or something, then I will refer them out and say, hey, let's try to work with this person as well. So, I mean, the biggest thing is that I really do care about each and every single one of my clients. And I just try to be there for them emotionally also, you know, even like life coaching things, not just training period and not just nutrition period. Like I really try to be with them as a coach, you know, for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's transition into overcoming false and self-limiting beliefs, because that's a huge one that we all battle with. Like even us, me and Chris, you know, we've been entrepreneurs for 10 years. I mean, and I want to know in particular, like before you took that plunge to, you know, start your own business, train your own clients, did you ever have like a false limiting belief, like such as like, you know, imposter syndrome, the fear of failing, the fear of comparison syndrome? Anything that, or a scarce money mindset, anything failing. Yeah.
No, I mean, I have that daily, like I still have it. Like I honestly still do. And but you know what, I have that when I get kind of in my head and I forget why, well, hold on a second. Like, why am I coaching this person? Or if there's a condition that I haven't been familiar with, that I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But then I have to get back to it and say, okay, hold on a second. Why am I doing this? then I go back, okay, I have at least 6 years of school. I have my master's. Like I know that I may not have experienced this before, but I'm a competent and smart adult that can handle this. And if I cannot, I can always, ask for help or refer out. I suffer with that daily. No, trust me. I mean, even making my little essential oils that I make, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, God, is this stupid? Like, what am I doing? I'm like, no, wait a minute. I love this. Like, this is valuable stuff. Like, this is really nice. These are really nice products that I use myself, and I'm making them because I want other people to experience them.
And you believe in it.
And I believe in it. Yeah. And for sure, even Eric has actually helped me in like my pricing, because where my prices now are higher than when I started with, for personal training and for nutrition. And I mean, Eric was a big, because dude, you got to charge more. And, it's just, it's the value. Like, and I remember there's another business coach online. I don't know if you guys know, I think her name is Annie Miller.
Okay.
She just said, she goes, hey, when you're doing your pricing, it's not what you would pay exactly. It's like, you're not marketing to you. Like, you could be 23 years old and not have any money, but you're marketing to other people that do have money. And I have to think about it. I'm like, well, I would pay for this. Like, yeah, I'd give this person $500 if they're going to help me and if they're going to really change my life. So why wouldn't I, be able to do that for myself? So, that's something, again, I've been doing it for 14 years, but there's always a learning curve. And I have to remind myself how old I am as well, because I think sometimes we get stuck. Like, we do think we're in our 20s. We have that mindset. And then I have to remember, like, no, I'm a mother. I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm 33. I have a lot of experience. I have to really remind myself of who I am. And that's something I think about daily.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you touched up on just like having to just increase your prices, because that's something we are big on. And it's like, too many fitness professionals have the mindset of basing their prices off time rather than value, right? Just what kind of impact and what kind of transformation are you really bringing to the table to each client? And there's no price point on something like that.
Right. And I just, I think back to when, like, if I have an issue, and I was working with one of my friends who's a registered dietitian. And before we even got to the price, like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't care. I'll pay anything. Like, I need to fix this problem. I'm suffering. I really need help. If you say it's $1,000, if you say it's $3,000, like, I want to find a way that I'll be able to pay it, because I really need help with this issue. I think that it wasn't that much, but before you find out the price, you kind of think about, like, well, what is this worth to me? So that's a big mindset that I could probably even work on a little bit more.
For sure. All of us.
We all can. Yeah. But this has been great, Lisa. You've dropped, honestly, some like really, really good, like, value bombs, for the listeners, the aspiring, fitness professionals. So we truly appreciate, like, just like your experience, your wisdom, everything you've dropped. I mean, where can, like, an aspiring fitness professional who's listening to this follow you and see what you're doing?
So I post the most on Instagram, and that's at LizaFit, LizaFit. I started, it's so funny, because now when you say, like, the Instagram, like, everybody's fit. Okay. But I had this, like, in college. This is from a while ago. Just a little side note. And then I also do have a website. It's LizaFit.com, same, LizaFit.com. And if somebody wants to send me an email, I'm, open to answering any questions. It's LizaScottNutrition@gmail.com. All one word.
Awesome. All right.
To help anybody, I'd love to have a dialogue, conversation. I think all of us fitness professionals are in this together, so we might as well help each other out.
Absolutely. That's exactly why we're doing these Coaches Corners, talks. So Lisa, thank you so much. We'll have that all linked up in the show notes, and truly appreciate what you're doing in making the world a better place.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Until next time. All right, guys, welcome back to another Coaches Corner episode. We got Nick Palladino King in the house. Nick, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are we doing? Good to see the bros again.
Absolutely, man. No, it's been a while since we caught up, and I know we hit it off about a couple of years ago back at the Rise conference in San Jose, and we're both locals, Cali boy locals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes,
and you're based out of San Francisco right now, running your gym, and you converted virtual. So we were talking a little bit about that, man. So I want to definitely dabble into that, but let's kick this off, Nick. I'm excited to have you on, man. I know you have a lot of, like, experience in the fitness industry. You've built your businesses. You're always pivoting with stuff too and adapting, which is awesome. So how long have you been a fitness professional, and what would you say your number one lead generation tool is right now?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I've been in sports and athletics since I was a kid. So it's really been more like a lifelong passion that I just kind of like fortunately turned into a career. But I've been officially in the wellness industry about 10 years. I've been teaching and coaching since 2010, 2011. So it's been a long time. It's changed tremendously, the industry, the approach in which we coach, and the resources, social media. So yeah, it's been really cool to be a part of. And then for me right now, I'd say the biggest thing in terms of lead gen is our newsletter. I just can't stress enough like how powerful it is and how amazing it is once you learn that mechanism. And what I'll do actually is, I nurture and I send out leads, or it's not leads, I send out newsletters all the time. And then the biggest thing I do, this is a tip and a hack I got from Pat Rigsby. I think you guys know,
Okay.
Pat, is at the end of the month, every month, I just send out a newsletter that says coaching and training, right? And in it, it's super short, 10, 15 words, and just says, hey, we're taking on a few new clients for this program. Are you interested? Email me back. Before COVID, we were getting like, I would say 5 clients a month just with that one technique alone. Now it might be 1 or 2, but it's just such a powerful, easy technique that I've learned from Pat and that I use in my businesses and what I coach in my students too. So I would say nurture your newsletter, grow it, be interactive with that environment, and really reach out and let people know what you're offering. So that's what I've been using, and it's been a great resource, a great tool.
And that's awesome. So you're the first person like on one of these coaches corners that actually said email marketing, which is really refreshing to hear. I mean, we're preaching that all the time. Like we would never give up on like building email lists and stuff too. And thanks so much for that hack. That's awesome. And then what would you say though? Like, what are you doing to like get people to subscribe to your guys' newsletter?
Yeah. So the way I look at it, and this is just what I've learned and what I'll teach too, is I think of marketing as a big net, right? It's like a big fish net or a big funnel. And, you've got things on, you've got Facebook ads, you've got organic social, Instagram, right? You might have a YouTube channel. You've got people that come into your studio if you have a brick and mortar. You've got, lead magnets out there, and all of these things, might be grabbing 10 people, 15 people, 20 people a month. But the fact that you've got a wide net, you might be getting 100, 200, newsletter subscribers every month just through kind of simple organic stuff. And what I find over time is that net starts to really funnel and nurture people towards you, right? And you might never know where someone's going to come from, but having a couple that you're really good at, I think is super, super important. So that's the way I approach it. That's the way we do it. A way we were doing it even before was, we had ClassPass. Okay. And every time a ClassPass user would come into our studio, we would capture their email. And then they would go directly to our newsletter. So I can't stress enough the fact of every person that you serve as a trainer or a coach, get their email, put them on your list, and make a touch point. And people are pretty comfortable with it. So I would just say wherever you can, you kind of just grab them from all different places and then funnel them in. And really, this is where you build the know, like, trust, right? Where people can really get to know you, like you, and trust you. And I would just say, email marketing it's super powerful. It's much less competitive than Instagram, Facebook. And I know you guys have talked about this and heard this. You own the real estate. Yep. So when Instagram changes the algorithm on you and you go from getting 500 likes to 5, because I'm sure that's happened to you guys too. And with your email list, you don't have to do that. Just keep giving good content. And what I think what's really important there is you never know when someone's going to be ready to buy off your email list. And it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 5 years before someone goes, wow, that thing you put out, that program, now I'm ready. So I would guess it's actually probably maybe the opposite of instant gratification, which we get from social media. So it's much more of a touch point at getting to know people and building that relationship. So one last tip there is when you email people like you're talking to one person. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you've got 500 people on your list, you're having 500 individual conversations. Remember, you're writing to a person. You're not writing to an email. That's something I forget quite often, and really putting that heart into it and soul. So yeah, if you guys are doing that, it's cool to hear other people doing that. It's
heck yeah, man.
It's such a powerful technique. You can't talk about it enough.
Yeah, those are some great tips, man. Really appreciate it. So that's going to kind of lead me into my next question. And this is going to be a cool one because I know that you said that you guys had a brick and mortar, right? And then you guys completely kind of pivoted to like virtual, right? So almost like a virtual gym. So give me 2 examples, like one in person and then one like virtually. Like what have you done that really stands out, like client experience wise, to where these clients are just like, holy shit, like this is why I'm with Tribe. Like this is why I'm wowed. Like they truly care. Is there any tactics you guys do both in person and online?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think that's probably one that like most coaches don't ask themselves enough. So I'm in our studio now, and I'm the only one in here. So this is pretty much turned into our virtual studio where we do our live classes, where we do stuff like this, and really pivoting into the virtual world. But I would think the biggest part is, for us, is I want us to be really holistic in our approach. I want us to be really service first and community first, and that's actually why we named our gym our company Tribe. We sat before we did anything, before we marketed, before we created a brand, we sat down and we thought about our goals and our visions. So my brother and I, we run our company together too, just like you guys. And we sat down and we wrote out our 10 values. What are we about? What's important to us? And things that came up were community, leadership, empowering others, integrity. And once we had all of those key pieces, then we thought about, okay, what's the brand? Right? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And that's actually how we came up with the name Tribe. So for us, it's always kind of felt like a marketing slam dunk, to tell you the truth. We started with our values, and then we were like, wow, we want to be about community. And then we created a name and a brand that represented that. So for us, and especially this, last year, when you could, in the old days, when you could come in and hang out, it was community first. I mean, to the point where people walk in and you know their name. And you acknowledge them, and after you've seen a member for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, say, hey, like, Eric, are you doing something differently? Because you look really good, man. Like, I noticed, like, your skin looks better, you're looking more confident in your clothing. So little things that you genuinely mean, but showing people that you're paying attention to them, and showing people that you care, and that they have a name and a face. I can't tell you how far that goes in creating retention and valuable clients and people that really appreciate you, and vice versa. And getting to really light people's life up and day up, and trying to become their third home, the place where outside of their work and their house, where do they really think about going? And I think if you can do that, as if it's brick and mortar, if it's offline, if it's online, if you can do that, if you can create community, and I really think moving forward, like, people are yearning for community so much.
Yeah.
So how do we as fitness professionals and wellness professionals really bring this together? I think it's about caring. It's about really reaching out and showing people that you know them, right? I know you guys are really personal in your business, and that you care, because there's so many coaches out there now that I don't think it's that hard to compete if you're a good coach.
Yep.
If you care, if you know your stuff. It's, there's 1,000 bad coaches for every good one now. So I think that's a really important as a competitive advantage, is care, and really show that to your clients, and then they'll do anything for you. So, they'll bring you clients, and then you don't have to do as much to grow your business. So that would be my big tip, is care, and really bring people together and be that source of inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, 100% spot on. It's like really what we preach to like our Fit Pros in our program is just like focus on the client experience, whether it's in person or online, like shower those clients with like customer experience, because that's what's going to get them to pay, stay, and refer. So I'm really glad you hit on that.
Yeah. And really quick, just to add what you said about like, just think about like, this is like one of their homes, right? Your clients, to where fitness and health is a big part of their lifestyle and day-to-day life. So it's like, they're going to spend a big majority of time, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly at your facility. So you're spot on as to like, you have to make them think like, okay, I feel comfortable here. I'm looking forward to going here daily,
Yeah, for sure. I think another huge piece is finding business partners or people that can help you do things that you're not really great at. For me, for example, I'm really good at the business and the nuts and bolts pieces, right? And really operating the business. What I'm not great at is I'm not great at being like the rah-rah guy that like when clients come in, and just like high-fiving. But like my brother, he's top notch at that. So you got to really understand too, like what your strengths are as a business owner and what you do really well, and then what you don't do well, and then find people around you and build that into your team, So it's, I would look for that, look for synergies, look for things that you're really strong at and do those, and then find other people that, can carry the stuff that you either aren't good at or don't like. Cause that'll show too, right? If you're doing things all day long in your business, that you don't like, your clients are going to feel that. And then, we might as well go get a corporate job, because in a lot of sense, it might be easier just to have a paycheck coming in.
Yeah, I like too how you have like the brother dynamic too. So you understand how working with your brother, how it's like, it's a hell of an experience, but definitely like me and Chris are like at it, like sometimes like at our necks, but it's all brother.
I know, man. I know it is. It's so tough. It's so tough. It's so fun and it's so frustrating at the same time. Yeah. And then our wives get the brunt of it, right? They get to hear it too. It's just, it's fun and frustrating. It's not for everybody.
Definitely. Nick, so let's transition into like breaking past self-limiting beliefs and false beliefs. And I truly believe as entrepreneurs and even personal trainers, fitness professionals, we all deal with that even still till today, So what was one that you struggled with most, like when you first got started? What's one that you're struggling with right now? And how do you break past that? So let's say if it was like the fear of getting started, fear of failing, imposter syndrome, comparison syndrome, or like a scarce money mindset.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, because when we're talking about being entrepreneurs, it's so, you guys know this, so much of it is the inner game, is the inner work, right? I mean, when I do business coaching with wellness professionals, so many times we can't even talk about the business coaching because those clients haven't done their personal work. And until we figure out like who they are, what they're about, what their fears are, it's like the business is the external reflection of the person, right? And if the internal is not tightened up, and if there's all those blocks, it's really hard to get a business going, especially as an entrepreneur. So I love that you guys asked that question. I know for me, it's actually kind of evolved over time, and it's something I learned from my father. Of you become successful, and then at some point, whether it's your money, your relationships, your friendships, your health, the wheels fall off the bus, and then things come crumbling down, and then you kind of like you rebuild yourself, and then you become successful again. So for a long time, I thought mine was the old generic, like, oh, I'm afraid of being successful. After I've been studying yoga for 15 years, and after a while, I was going, wait a second. All I'm ever thinking about is like, when are the wheels going to fall off the bus? Like, when are my clients going to come in and say, hey, Nick, like, it's been great, but I don't really want to work with you anymore, right? Or when would I come into Tribe, and when would the lights be turned off and we would be evicted? Like, your mind kind of goes to these like worst case scenarios. And I realized, I said, wait a second, like, this isn't my reality anymore. This isn't true. So it wasn't that I was afraid of being successful. It was actually that I was afraid of being successful and then losing it. And when I realized that, I probably realized that about 6 or 7 years ago. My life took a sharp turn in trajectory, because I no longer started doing things to fulfill that limiting belief that once I became successful, I would be a failure. And by not even changing it, just by noticing it and bringing awareness to it, my money relationships got better, my intimate relationships got better, my business relationships got better, less fear, less doubt. So that was really a turning point for me of understanding that, wow, like, I'm afraid of being successful and people seeing me as someone who's a leader, and then the wheels falling off the bus and then being a failure. And that's still in there. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's still, like if I'm in a bad mood, or if I'm hungover, or if a client fires me, it kind of creeps up. It's like, oh, hey buddy, remember me? And, then now it's a relationship, right? I can like talk to it, like, all right, man, thanks for the input. I appreciate it. But actually, like, we're not doing this one anymore. Maybe one day it'll be completely gone, but it's still, he pokes his head up in there when I get down or things get tough. And I think something that's really important as an entrepreneur is to look at your life and go, okay, what does the evidence show me? The evidence shows, you're successful, or that your clients love you, or that you're a good trainer, you're a good coach. And so when you find yourself in doubt, like, look to the external and go, wow, like, the reality is that things are working. The reality is that, like, the track record is success. And that's not going to change, overnight. I mean, I know you guys have probably talked to trainers that have lost their businesses, and then they're like, oh my God, I'm a failure. It's like, no, all that information, all that learning, all that growth over the last 5-10 years, like, you get to keep that, right? The physical space might be gone, but that knowledge, like, that's yours. So I would really challenge everyone to look inside and say, well, like, what's the reality here? Because more often than not, whatever we're thinking it's not true. And then, be fearless, you gotta, like, being an entrepreneur, I think it's gotta be in your DNA to some extent too. And just saying, like, whatever this is, it's good, but it's not good enough. And I'm going to go out and create something more and create something better, and challenging yourself and pushing yourself. So yeah, that's, I love that question, because I think it's so important as entrepreneurs and leaders, is to really understand what that is and how it shows up.
Yeah, it truly is, man. Especially like what you said, like going back to your track record. That's something like we forget too. It's just like look back at like what you did like accomplish and stuff, and like give yourself some credit for that, to pick yourself back up, but don't get too content, but then just go back at it. So that's really important to look at your track record. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the numbers, look at the data. That stuff doesn't lie. Look at your testimonials, look at all the clients that you've helped, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys experience this, but it's like, I help 100 people, but it's like, ooh, if I could just get to like 100, 101. And like, then I'll really be a good coach. Then I'll really be a good teacher. But it's like, no, the track record is already there. So really, really being honest with what the reality is. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever be satisfied no matter what we do. And it's just like, it's a double-edged sword, but at the same time, it's just, you just gotta, find the silver linings of it and just like keep going, and just keep serving and impacting.
Yeah. And in a crazy way, that's what can make you into an excellent coach.
Yeah.
Is that piece of like, man, there's always something to improve on. There's always something to get better at, but then also understanding too, like, you're as good as you're supposed to be, and kind of playing those off each other.
Yep.
Right. Not coming from a less than mindset, but coming from a like, hey, I'm good and I want to get to here. I think that's a really powerful way to look at growth and change.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Nick, man, this has been awesome. And like, I truly appreciate like your experience, your wisdom, and not holding back and just being real and authentic, with the listeners. It's going to really inspire a lot of fitness professionals. So where could anybody that's listening to this follow like the work that you're doing?
Yeah. If you want to check out my personal website, it's nickpalladino.co. And if you want to check out what we're doing with our studio, it's tribefitsf.com. If you go to either of the websites, there's some resources there, some newsletters, some books you guys can get access to and kind of check us out and see what we're into. But yeah, those two things, nickpalladino.co and tribefitsf.com.
Awesome. We'll have all that linked up in the show notes. Again, Nick, thank you so much, man. Truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. Really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Good to see you. It's been too long.
I know.
All right, guys. Until next time. All right, guys. Welcome back to another Coach's Corner episode. We have the awesome Patrick Umphrey in the house. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain, man. I have, my twin right by my side. We've, the last 6 weeks, we moved to Texas, which was a huge, huge move. So
Nice.
I'm feeling grateful and blessed,
That's great. Gratitude's a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I know we hit the record before we hit the record button. You said you're in snow weather right now. So
Minnesota. It's a little snowy out there right now.
Yeah, I bet. So do you do any type of like sledding, like anything fun just in the snow, like build snowman, anything? No?
Not really, but I have two kids ages 6 and 9, and they like it. And we have a little bit of a hill in the backyard. And so I do, I'll do a little bit of sledding with them just so that they get to enjoy it. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I remember those days too. Those are fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, thanks so much for coming on this Coach's Corner segment. Honestly, I know you have a lot of experience and you've been doing some great things in the fitness industry. And I know that just one of your pieces of wisdom, advice is going to help an aspiring fit pro or even a seasoned veteran just with something, they might need to learn. So let's kick this off. I mean, how long have you been a fitness professional? And what would you say that your number one go-to is for acquiring clients, lead generation?
Great question. And you would think I'd know the exact day that I started, but I'm going to give you an estimate. I have been doing coaching or personal training for about 7-ish years now.
Okay.
And all of my business is online, and it's actually been online for the majority of my career. And as far as marketing or generating leads, first of all, I don't know if this will be actionable for your listeners, but I'm an honest guy, so I'll tell you how I do it. I don't really do any direct marketing with ads or anything like that. I run a pretty good Facebook group. Obviously, I'm pretty biased saying my own group is good, but that's how I feel about it. I've got about almost 19,000 members, and it is a very, very, very active group.
Wow.
And the things that I do that I believe are working well for me are as follows. I make an effort to make people in my group feel valued. I solicit their feedback, and I just want them to feel welcome. I focus on creating a space that people enjoy being in, and as a result of doing that, it grows by itself. Almost all of my business either comes from Facebook or the remainder of it comes from referrals, either from other coaches or from my clients. And so a lot of my emphasis on, I'm going to call it marketing, but a lot of my clients, they just come from my Facebook group. The other thing that I do is, without aggressively promoting my coaching, like I'm not every day on there trying to hustle for clients. I'm just showing my clients results. And oftentimes my clients go in there and, they'll post videos of their lifts and things like that. And that just kind of generates the buzz, and people contact me through there. And that's how it works. And I pretty much have what I will call a full client roster. I have enough work that I'm not out aggressively looking for it, and very happy with it. So
yeah, man. Exactly. That's awesome, man. And like, even when we did like a lot of the bulk of our online coaching as well too, even though we were pretty aggressive with the marketing, what never replaced it was just showing those testimonials, like even like on social media, like literally just showing the before and afters, and then referrals were huge too, even though it was online based. Yeah. But even oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, I don't have any issue with marketing. It's just, I'm not very educated on it, and I found a method that works. And so that's just kind of what I've stuck with. And because I'm able to remain with a pretty full roster without having to do that, I just never really bothered to push that aspect of it. But that's not me saying it's not a good idea, and wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and I'm just glad you touched on this, because again, every Fit Pro that we have on here just brings a different element with this. And yours is, Facebook groups, right? Building the community aspect, building a culture within that, and just really serving people through there. And a lot of people are just biased too, and just saying, oh, well, Facebook's out the window. It's dead. It's all about Instagram, this and that. And I'm like, no, there's plenty of business to be, made on Facebook. So you're clearly, displaying that with 19,000 members in your group. That's impressive.
That's amazing.
It's working well for me. That's all I can say. And it's also very enjoyable. Like I really enjoy spending time in the group.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Love that.
Patrick. So I know that you said the bulk of like your business is online, right? So for somebody that's either an aspiring coach or looking to get online, but they're kind of hesitant, like what is something like unique that you do to give like that online client experience? Because obviously it's a little bit different in person and online, but how do you like really give them that client experience to where they're just like, wow, like, man, Patrick cares, or this is so awesome?
I love that you said the word cares, because I think that that's underestimated or undervalued in terms of what I think new coaches and really all coaches should be doing. And that's demonstrating that you care about the person you're working with. And I can't speak highly enough about the importance of that. As far as what I do, I think, and I say I think because I don't know what all other online coaches do. So I don't know if my method is different. I never patterned what I do after other coaches, because when I started this, there wasn't as much online coaching at the time. And I started with, what do I think is going to work? Let's do this. I gave it away for free for a full year to just kind of pilot my program, and I kind of molded it as I went. But to get back to your question, I do a lot of Skype conversing. And so there's a lot of one-on-one conversations happening. I make an effort to listen. And I think this is something that's also undervalued in a way, in that when I first started out as a coach, I felt this pressure to have answers and to be the one talking. And I think that's natural, because when you're in a role of, you're kind of the, I'll say teacher or educator in a way when you're the coach. And so there's this natural need that I think people feel to have answers and to be the person directing. And I think that the real goal is asking the right questions and then shutting your mouth so that you can hear what they're telling you and you can do the right thing based on that information. And I also think that ties into caring, because you want people to have a platform that they can speak to you. They can tell you how they're feeling. They can tell you the things they're struggling with, and you just need to be a good listener. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad.
Did that answer your question? I'm sorry. I rambled a lot.
No, it did. Honestly, what I really appreciated was you said that when you first started, you kind of felt like you needed to have all the answers and, have the voice, right? And that's how we felt too, because we come from the background of, being coached by Lane Norton, Eric Helms, Dr. Joe. And I think you were coached by Eric Helms, right? Or was it Alberto?
I have hired Eric a few times for mentoring where I've paid his coaching fee to sit down with him and just drill him with questions. And so it was less about me as an athlete and more about me as a coach. And I have literally nothing but great things to say about Eric. He's one of my favorite people in the industry. The dude is amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Helms. But getting back to what I was saying though, like we came under that pressure where it's like, you know, we got mentored by these guys and we felt like we had to sit there and know all the answers to when somebody had a question about like, you know, training, nutrition, supplementation, cardio, whatever it is. And, you know, we forced it a little bit and we sat there and tried to be too much of the voice, trying to sound like them a little bit too much because
man, you're speaking my language here, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but like when I was thinking of this interview, I came up with very similar things. The pressure to like feel like you have to be like these other people in the industry. And the reality is be yourself.
Yep.
Don't try to be those other people. And yeah, man, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
What you said resonated with me so much that it was just like, man, you're hitting the nail right on the head here.
Yeah. And it's like, this is what I tell our Fit Pro students is like, don't compare yourself to these pioneers. You know, you're comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 10. And it's like, you know, we would be, you know, trying to put blogs out with all these fancy scientific like citations and stuff. And it wasn't even our voice. It was coming from a manuscript. You know what I mean? So
you're hitting a home run with me right here because this is this is exactly how I feel. Like, the reality is I'm never going to be an Eric Helms. I'm never going to be a Greg Nuckols, but I don't have to be. Like I can be Patrick and I can still do a damn good job helping people and identifying with people and listening to people. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I would argue that's a good thing. And I think the more people can just embrace being themselves, I think they're going to get a lot farther, a lot faster in the industry. One other thing, if you don't mind me going on a brief tangent, because I think it's relevant. One of the big moments for me was I took it was previously the Shredded by Science course. Okay. And Helms was one of the professors for that, Mike Zerdos, and they did some business advising, and a huge piece of advice I got out of that was I was going to post this really inappropriate meme, and it was pretty raunchy, and I questioned whether this would be a mistake because it would offend some people. And the advice I was given, like people saw this, people who knew me, and they said, dude, this is you, like this is your personality. You should post it. And it was that moment when I came to this realization of kind of what you were saying about being yourself, because I stopped trying to like, I don't want to say worry about other people's feelings, because you should care about other people's feelings, but I stopped trying to just pretend I'm someone else. And I was just like, this is me. Like, I'm just going to get this out there. And to be clear, this was not a meme that like punched it down, so to speak, because that's not something I'm about. It was just like immature and really inappropriate. And it just resonated with me to like, I'm just going to be myself. And so like, for example, you go to my group, like you're going to see fart jokes. Like I have a fat loss group called Fart. Literally the name of it is Fart, and it's focused adipose reduction team. And I came up with the acronym after coming up with Fart. And I know that that's just totally juvenile, but like, that's just who I am. And when I started doing this, you start attracting people that share those values and those characteristics. And when you attract those people, you're able to better connect with them. You're able to do a very good job. You're less likely to have people that you just butt heads with, so to speak. And so I just feel like it's sort of this self-selection process that happens where you're kind of filtering out people who are going to be repelled by that, and you're attracting people who aren't, and you're probably going to do a better job working with those people. Sorry to go on the ramble.
No,
like,
spot on. I love that point. I would even say like pour some water on that mic. That was like pure fire.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna have to have some coffee.
So let's transition into the next thing. So obviously, you know, when people get into, you know, building their own business, you know, training people online, there's always some sort of, false or limiting belief. And this is what we deal with a lot with our Fit Pro students. And it could be imposter syndrome. It could be the fear of failing, the fear of getting started, comparison syndrome, scarce money mindset. So were there any of those that you kind of like had to deal with and battle before starting everything that you have built?
Oh God, not before starting, but I would say something I still deal with a great deal is imposter syndrome. And it plagues me to this day. And it's something that, I struggle with a great deal. And the things that have helped me the most, I think, are focusing on helping my clients, because when I get good results with them, I feel better about my competency as a coach, and that helps the imposter syndrome. And when I say focus on it, I literally just mean work harder, reach out to them more, follow up with them more, do your job more. And then the other thing that has helped is just continuing education.
Yep.
Just learning the subject matter to a greater degree so that I feel like I can more confidently speak on it, at least the things that I feel like I should know. I don't think people should necessarily need to know everything. And that kind of goes back to, we're not all Eric Helms. And so,
Right.
But I think those two things have been the most helpful. But no, I don't think those have prevented me from ever getting started. Like I said, I started by giving it away for a year. And so I dove in way before I was ready. But my justification was, I'm not charging money for this service. I'm being very open about the arrangement that I've created. And it's if people are going to volunteer to do this, I'm going to gain the experience that I need. They're going to hopefully get something valuable out of it as well. And some of those are now paying clients. And this was 7 years ago when I started giving it away. And so, no, I feel like it didn't prevent me from starting, but it absolutely is relevant to me right now. And those are the things I've done to deal with it.
Yeah, I love that. And just really quick, just to add on that, I mean, I think we interviewed Seth Godin on our podcast and put that out this week. And he's a pioneer in just like the marketing world. And he's 60 years old, and he has so much experience. And he said still to this day, he feels like an imposter, and that we're always going to feel like imposters just because whatever we put out to the world, like a service, a product, we don't know if it's going to work. So therefore we are imposters. We just believe it's going to work. So, I really, just value that courage, though. You still kept going, though.
Yeah. And I don't remember who it was. I wish I could remember who, but I recall hearing another fitness professional who I really admire saying that they struggle with imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this weird relief that I had, because it was like, oh, wow, that person thinks they're an imposter, because I think that person's one of the best around. And so it kind of makes you feel like, okay, maybe I'm not so abnormal. Maybe there's not something wrong with me. Maybe it's okay to feel like this about myself, as long as it doesn't prevent me from helping people and taking action.
Absolutely. And that's what's crazy is like you've been in the game for 7 years. You probably helped so many people out, transformation wise, and you got a group of 19,000 members in there. People are going to look at this and hear this and they're like, holy shit, how does Patrick have imposter syndrome? You know what I mean? So
I do, man.
We all deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, this has been super awesome, man. I mean, this is exactly why we do these Coaches Corner, to aspire other fitness professionals with this type of experience, wisdom, just realness and authenticity. So where can some of the listeners follow everything that you're doing?
The Facebook group that I'm in is called Eat, Train, Progress. And it started out as a page. So when you search for it on Facebook, and I can provide you guys with the correct link, you will find a page and a group. You want to be in the group. The group is the big one. It's got 19K in it. The page has like 2,000. And so you'll know which the right one is, but I'll send you guys a link too. That'd be the best place to reach me. I'm also on Instagram at Eat, Train, Progress, one word. I don't use Instagram nearly as much as I should. I keep saying I intend to use it more, but I post on it about once a week. I'm on there a lot. Like a lot of my clients tag me in their lifting videos. So that's one way that I use to watch them train, but I don't really, I don't post as much as I should, but that is another way you can find me.
Awesome, Patrick. We'll have that all linked up in the show notes. And once again, thank you so much for just, your experience, your wisdom. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks.
My beard.
Patrick.
Thanks for my beard.
Beard's looking good, man.
Love the beard.
You guys too. You guys, that's like the house look almost. You got that like nice and trimmed. I dig it.
Hey, we got the caterpillar eyebrows going. These things aren't going away.
That's amazing. I get the kind where I get one that'll like sprout way out, like I'm picking up cable stations from it, like an antenna. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll mail you some of ours.
I like it.
All right, guys. Until next time.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video and another episode on pro tips on living a dynamic lifestyle. We truly appreciate it. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of it. If you're interested in getting more value like this from these pro tips, make sure to subscribe above. We're going to be dropping these daily. Also, if you are a fitness professional and you're looking to create more income, impact, influence, and independence, we just dropped our new book, Rise of the Fit Pros, so you guys can do all of that. And you can also start building your hybrid training model of in-person and online training. So make sure to click the link or the book right here to grab your guys' copy, and we'll send it over to you. Other than that, we're out. Talk to you soon.